This is actually called the physical impossibility of death in the mind of someone living, though most people simply know it as a frickin' shark in a big tank of formaldehyde, only because it sounds less like the title of a song by Fall Out Boy. It was created by British artist Damien Hirst in 1991, and it's big, like really big. Coming in at over 5 metres long, 2 metres tall and 2 metres deep, it's huge, and it's heavy too. Containing 4,360 gallons of fluid, it's probably one of the heaviest transportable artworks in the world, weighing in at 23 tonnes. But that hasn't stopped it getting around. It first went on display in the Saatchi Gallery in London, but it's also been on display in Austria, the Tate Modern back in London, and it's made it all the way over the pond to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City, where it got mugged twice and shot. Damien Hirst has often been a divisive figure in the art world, generally referred to as a conceptual artist, but the concept generally seems to be, how much money can I make for chucking an animal corpse into a vat of preservatives? Much of the controversy stems from the idea that historically, art was always viewed as individual masterpieces, painstakingly created by often struggling artists who had spent a lifetime honing their skills and obsessing over precise brushstrokes to create deep, individual, meaningful work. But in modern times, there are artworks being mass-produced by sometimes teams of staff with little or no physical input from the artists themselves, who are making vast sums of money for what appears to be minimal labour. The physical impossibility of death in the mind of someone living, or Tapudim Mozel for short, was originally commissioned in 1991 by Charles Saatchi, who paid Hirst £50,000 to create whatever he wanted for an upcoming exhibition. Hirst had already come up with the name, he just needs to find a fitting visual partner for it. £6,000 was spent on going down to Queensland, Australia to catch a 13-foot tiger shark. Well, obviously he didn't go there and catch it himself. He commissioned one of the locals to catch it for him. But at least it's nice for an Australian bloke to actually have a meaningful contribution to the art world. Originally put on display for the Saatchi Gallery's Young British Artists exhibition, it was alongside another of Hirst's works that was his breakthrough piece, titled 1,000 Years. It makes the shark look pretty tame. Now, if you look at most artworks, there'll be a little blurb describing the media involved in creating it. It's usually something like oil on canvas, tempera on poplar, or marble sculpture. The official list of media used for 1,000 years was glass, steel, silicone rubber, painted MDF, insecticutor, cow's head, blood, flies, maggots, metal dishes, cotton wool, sugar and water. Basically, it's a large see-through container filled with flies slowly eating a severed cow's head whilst a part of their electrocuted bodies accumulate on the floor around it. It's certainly evocative. You can see why it might not be for everyone. Unfortunately, when it comes to the shark in formaldehyde, there was an issue. It wasn't preserved particularly well. So by 2004, when Saatchi sold The Physical Impossibility of Life in the Heart of Somewhere Dead to Stephen A. Cohen, what's rumoured to be between £8 and £12 million, the fluid surrounding it had become murky. This isn't it, by the way. This is Rosie. In 1998, Rosie was a great white shark accidentally caught by tuna fishing nets off the coast of South Australia and purchased by Wildlife Wonderland in Victoria, where it stayed on display for visitors in a tank of formaldehyde until the park closed in 2012, and then it just stayed there, forgotten. Until Luke McPherson, a YouTube urban explorer, stumbled upon it 6 years later, bringing it back to the public attention. At the time of making this video, Rosie is being restored at the Crystal World Exhibition Centre, also in Victoria, is looking much better these days, happily. But that specific shark in a tank isn't really relevant to this video though. Obviously, as it's not in a gallery, that shark in a tank definitely isn't art. So, back to the theoretical incongruity of living outside of nowhere happening. Hirst kindly offered the new owner to replace the decomposing shark and went back to Queensland to catch another tiger shark. Well, obviously he didn't, but you know the score. And by 2006 it was good as new. Or was it? It begs the question, if the main object of the art is replaced, is this still the original piece? When asked about this, Hirst said, "It's a big dilemma. Artists and conservatives have different opinions about what's important, visual artwork or the original intention. I come from a conceptual art background, so I think it should be the intention. It's the same piece, but the jury will be out for a long time to come. Innit? Whether this is still the same piece or not, Hirst hasn't been afraid to revisit sharks as his subject matter in his never-ending quest to pickle as much of the world's wildlife as possible, producing works such as The Immortal in 2005, The Wrath of God in 2005, Death Explained in 2007, Death Denied in 2008, The Kingdom in 2008, Heaven in 2009, and Leviathan in 2013. So you can accuse him of lots of things, but when it comes to thinking up different names for sharks and chemicals, he's the best there is. Modern art often divides opinion, generally due to the perceived lack of talent required to create it, but at the end of the day, I think Damien said it best. And it was put to him that anyone could pay a team of people to dump a shark into a tank of chemicals. Yeah, but you didn't, did you? It's easy to look at something that's already been created and say you could have done it, but part of the job of an artist is to look at things in new and innovative ways and to get the viewer to do the same. And when you consider that, can you think of something that no one's ever thought of before? Thanks for watching my video. I'll be uploading a new one on the second Sunday of every month. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to like, share and subscribe.